Well, we're taking it easy and we're feeling fine. Doing a little stitching here on Island Time. If you get in a hurry, well, it's not a crime. But won't you come and join us on Island Time?
Hi everyone, welcome to Stitching on Island Time. I'm Lori Millsap and this is my daughter Mallory Bosse. Together we are Stitching on Island Time. We are here for an update video of our FlossTube. If you've accidentally stumbled upon this channel, we're primarily going to talk about cross stitch here, all the things we've been working on, the things we finished, some of the things that we want to work on, many of the things we've bought, a little bit of our family updates. We treat this like our video diary so that we can just have a conversation with one another. It's funny. Mallory is the first child, the first grandchild. She lives in my house. We live together all the time. We go on vacation together for a week. We still sometimes only talk to each other about what we've been stitching when we sit down to do these films.
It's true.
So, and that shows how old I am that I called it a film. But we do say we film our floss tubes about once a month.
Sure.
So I guess it's filming,
And
sort of.
because we're a large family, you and my dad, and then me, my husband, and our 2 children in the house, not all of them are as interested in our crafts that we've been working on.
Right.
So it's nice for us to get some one-on-one time for us to be able to talk about what we've been enjoying lately.
Yes.
So,
And we don't, it doesn't usually come up around the dinner table.
No.
Very rarely. And, you know, she's busy all day homeschooling her children. I'm busy all day running my long arm. And by evening, we're just ready to, veg. But she goes upstairs with her family and I stay downstairs with my stitching. And so we don't even see each other then. So,
and I've
fine.
been doing so much reading aloud to my family over the last month or two that I really have not done as much stitching or crafting as I would normally do in the evenings. So
that's hard for me to believe because you have done so much this month. Well, we did have a whole week. So to catch you up on some of the things that have happened, we were just here on May 6th. So this is probably our shortest amount of time between videos that we've ever had. But we were away for a week on our favorite island of Island Time, Ocracoke, in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And it is just a lovely fishing village, very quiet, lots of gift shops, beautiful beach. Wynn's #1 beach in the country year after year because it's just so beautiful.
and clean.
And lovely, yes. Everything about it. And the islanders are just so friendly. There's only about 900 permanent residents on the island. And of course that swells in the summertime with tourism. And we're some of those dingbatters that show up to be tourists. So we had a lovely time. We just ate ice cream at least once a day, sometimes twice.
Yes, my youngest,
Sometimes for
especially,
breakfast.
my youngest would lobby for twice a day.
Yes, and sometimes for breakfast, which is, a different kind of way to enjoy ice cream.
There's a different kind of vacationing that happens when you go on vacation with the grandparents because the parents say ice cream at 10 a.m. Absolutely not. And the grandparents go, let me get the keys.
That's right.
So that's the difference.
On Ocracoke, if you ask for ice cream, we go get ice cream. It doesn't matter what the weather is, what the time is. If you want ice cream, we go get ice cream.
We can make that happen.
That's right.
That's the...
So anyway, we had a lovely time. We didn't get as much stitching done. Well, I didn't get as much stitching done as I usually would do in a 7-day period. I read 7 books.
that takes a little bit of time.
It does. I was on beach read mode hard. I read, potato chip books. Nothing that I could...
No substance to them, but they were just
delicious.
Yes.
Just super fun and
Thank you,
fast.
sir. May I have another?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And so that was fun. I'm glad I got to do that. I haven't done that in a long time.
And it's good for you. It's a little mental reset because that's really what you enjoy doing is just reading voraciously.
I do. I like quilting voraciously. I like stitching voraciously. I pretty much anything I can do as fast as possible, as much as possible. That's really my favorite. So
We're kind of go big or go home when it comes to reading, quilting, cross stitch,
all the things.
all the things.
So we left for Ocracoke on Mother's Day. And so we got to open our Mother's Day presents the night before.
A little early.
The folks were really sweet to us here.
We didn't want to have to bring Mother's Day presents to open on the island.
No, that's really what it boiled down to. And we knew we would be hustling around on that morning trying to get everything loaded in the car. So, yeah. So Mother's Day was, I'm going to say, anticlimactic as far as, celebration of being a mother. But, I mean, we were headed to Ocracoke, so that's pretty much the best thing you could do.
And I did make you a pretty cool Mother's Day
You
gift.
did? I would love for you to show it. I laid it out here so she could. Okay, so something you need to know about Mallory is she is an extraordinarily talented artist. She was majoring in art at East Carolina University. She is adept at many different art forms, but this was just a fun surprise. So,
and I enjoyed working on it. I literally had no plan for what I was going to be painting, and that's one of my favorite things to do when I sit down with paint and paintbrushes is to not really have any kind of plan. My children, I surprised by saying we're having a painting day and set up our table so that all three of us could work side by side.
And honestly, both of her girls have gained the same level of talent. I have several paintings here hanging that Mallory painted when she was about the age of Gingersnap.
Right.
So
the one that's up is when I was 14, wasn't it? And I took that oil painting class.
yes.
Yeah, this is just acrylic, and I didn't do anything fancy, y'all. It's just out of the tube, a little bit of color mixing, but I did this in 3 stages so I could let it dry between. It's one of the things I love about acrylic paint is it actually dries in between steps.
Yes.
Unlike oils, which will stay wet
Yes.
forever. Yeah. But stitching on Island Time, this was sort of just a bit of a whim, but I was like, oh, this will be so fun to set up in the foyer where we've got all of our other beachy Island Time things.
Yeah, I love it very much. So that was fun. And then that week while we were on the island, we basically just ate and napped and ate and walked and shopped and ate and slept.
And napped, yeah.
And that was our week. We did
Cooked. We did some cooking.
we had rented a house, which was a great idea, and we loved it so much we've already reserved it for the same week next year. Like it was a perfect fit for our family.
Just
it
the right
was
size.
really close to the lighthouse, which of course is one of my favorite things in the world, and so we could
Exhibit A?
Yes, so we could walk to the lighthouse, pick up the tram. So Ocracoke has a public, like, giant golf cart tram system that you can hop on and off for free all day. And they have like 10 stops on the island. And so you can just ride around this loop and get off where you want to shop or get off where you want to eat. It's wonderful. It means you don't have to try and navigate narrow island roads in your vehicle. Although this year we did use our car a little bit more than usual to run down to the beach or to, out in the rain. There was one day. Yeah.
Where it was torrentially raining all day, and Dad managed to get 3 naps.
Yes, it was a great day for sleeping. But in the middle of the day, I really didn't, we were all kind of blah because of the rain. And
Being stuck inside.
Yeah, I said, okay, we can't just sit in here all day and be down while it rains and pours. Let's run to Howard's Pub and have lunch. On a rain day like this, they'll be real slow, and we should go give them some. They'll need our business. That's my excuse, to go eat shrimp and fries. So anyway, we hopped in the car, and there was a lot of ponding. They got 5 inches of rain that day.
I know. My foot went all the way into one of those 5-inch puddles.
Yes. So
submerging my tennis shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a blast. It was so much fun. And while there, and on that rainy day, I actually got the most stitching done.
Right. I don't think. I mean, I got some stitching done that day. Well, let's look. So on that day,
it was a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I worked on Mary Finley, and it's dark fabric. I didn't get that much done. The challenge there for me was lighting. I really should have taken my own lamp.
And
I will
days,
next year.
When the sun was shining, the lighting was fine.
Right, and I was next to a window, and had a reading lamp, so that was fine. There was a tall lamp there. It just wasn't great.
But on an overcast, darker day,
Sure.
dark fabric is really hard to work on.
Or in the evening. I think I'm spoiled at home. When I stay up late to stitch, I usually have 2 lamps hyper focused on me. I can turn all the rest of the lights in the house off, and I still have plenty of light right where I sit and stitch late. And those lights, I think because of the kind of light they help keep me awake, which is, maybe not what I ought to be doing right before bedtime. But the combination of those things makes evening stitching for me at home very productive.
Sure.
I even said as much that, when I was stitching on Island Time, I was not nearly as productive as I am stitching on Sugar Creek, which is where we live,
Right.
So it's fine.
Although we still view our stitching time as Island time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, let's get started. We were hoping this wouldn't be a really long video, but we could talk about ochre coke all day.
Forever.
So part of the reason we went on Mother's Day, and then our last day on the island was my anniversary.
Yay.
So I brought in, because I know all of you guys will think this is hilarious, there's my wedding picture. I fell in love with, when I tried this dress on, I tried it on with a hat. The hat I tried it on with cost $5 more than the dress. So my mother said, well, just get the dress and we'll figure out something about a hat.
I've never heard that story before. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we bought a hat for, I think, $10, and then my mother dressed it up to match my dress.
She's enormously talented.
But my wedding dress was $135. So, back in the day, 1986 when we married. So May 17th was our 39th wedding anniversary, which is part of why we've already made the reservations for next year, because I think we have to be
40.
on ochre coke for 40.
Yay.
We were there to celebrate our 20th, 25th, 30th, and 35th. So
I guess it's tradition at this
kind of
point.
have to be there for the 40th. We've been there in between, obviously, but So
That's awesome.
all right, so our quilts of the day. I'm going to talk about this. This is Unity, which is a quilt that Bonnie Hunter designed during the pandemic. It came out in parts. It started with the center medallion, and then we made the pieces that go around.
Which you can't even see.
You can't see because it's down low. That's fine. I'll take
put a picture of the full quilt in so that you can see that centerpiece, because it is lovely.
So, but what I love about this quilt is, of course, it was the pandemic, and I pulled 100% of these fabrics from my fabric stash and made the entire quilt from fabric I already owned, including the backing, which is just a beige neutral wide back that I had, and I quilted it. Of course, I already had a long arm here, and so I quilted it up, threw it straight into the washing machine, as is my typical, thing to do.
So it'll get that nice crinkle.
Right. So it came out of the dryer, I spread it out, and then realized that some of the navy blues had run. And when they ran, they didn't run as much on the front of the quilt. They ran through the quilting onto that beige backing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's where I found it, was kind of some purple in the middle of the beige. So, it's not a big deal. You just run the hottest water you can possibly run in your washing machine, and you wash it again. And it'll usually
use one of those color catcher
Yeah, I use
sheets?
color catchers, and you can throw a little Dawn dishwashing detergent in there just to squirt. That usually helps pull dye that's deposited, but I had already dried it. So I washed it again, still a little blue. I washed it, which would have been the third time. I washed it again, also again on hot water, added some boiling water, because the hotter the better. Then looked like I'd gotten it all out, so then I dried it again. So then I measured, and this quilt shrunk. I think it shrunk almost 10 inches in both directions.
What?
And it was not the batting's fault. And it was not the cotton fabric's fault. It was all the hot water I had to wash it in. But it's a wonderful quilt, and it's still just a lovely drape. I mean, it didn't ruin the quilt. Hot water is not going to ruin a cotton fabric. So anyway, but that was my favorite. Was, you know, there I was in the pandemic just trying to get the blue out of the back of this quilt. So
The pandemic was blue enough.
it was. So this is Unity from Bonnie Hunter. I think you can buy the design now as a PDF chart on her website, which is quiltville.com. And if so, I'll put a link in the
Description box below.
Yeah, you'll get that. So that was Unity.
Unity.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to start talking about our finishes?
Yes.
All right. I have none. Zero. We'll lead with that. So today is mostly about Mallory and Mallory stitching.
Okay, but here's the thing. The first thing I'm showing is really an us finish.
Sure, but...
And you bought the frame, and you bought the pattern, and you bought the fabric and the floss and the...
Okay.
I just did the little last bit of stitching. That's all I did.
The little last bit. That thing would still be in a UFO bag in there if she hadn't done it. So there you go.
Here's our beautiful flea market flower baskets from Lori Holt, and this frame from Art to Frame.
Art to Frame. Mm-hmm.
And my gosh, it's perfect, you guys. The color is just fabulous. When you look at it on your computer screen or your phone screen, you always wonder how true is this color going to be, and it came, and it just was perfect with the colors already in this piece. It hangs right on the wall in our foyer area between our two big double doors at the front. And on the opposite side of those doors is a little quilt about this size and in about this color.
Yeah, it is funny how the greens sort of balance
They
each other.
balance each other so nicely. I didn't even notice until I'm coming down the stairs one day and went, oh, symmetry. I love symmetry.
Yep, that's really nice. Yes, I think it turned out so great. The Art to Frame is so nice. So Chris, the camping stitcher, has been talking about buying from Art to Frame for years now. And so I finally, she coached me through how to order. So this is our second frame to buy. Mm-hmm. And this time I was smart enough to actually remember to switch it from the corrugated back to the foam core. So they actually send this piece of foam that you can, in fact, stretch your piece over, especially if you pin like Chris does. She uses the little straight stainless steel pins.
She tacks it down with pins.
And then just laces the extra bits.
That's so smart.
Yeah, so that's why she uses the foam core as her backing board. But it also still fit, which I thought was fantastic, behind where Mallory had already laced it on mat.
A piece of mat board with batting on it. Yeah.
So it's got a layer of batting. It's got the acid-free mat board, and then she's laced the back. And then when the frame came, there was nothing to do except just pop it in and push those little tabs. It even came with the little hanger that then, you just pushed in. I think I did tap it with a hammer, but only because my arthritis hands aren't that strong. So anyway, I just thought it turned out beautifully.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
And I love that it's in the foyer with our other stitching on Island Time things, because this was literally stitched by both of us.
That's true.
And therefore was stitched by Stitching on Island Time.
Right. Yeah, I like it. It really is a lovely piece.
It is so pretty, and it turned out so nice. It makes me happy. Like, it's all those bright, cheerful colors. I used the same color palette in the memory piece that I did of my cat when she passed in February. And so every time I see the little Adelaide on my wall, that makes me happy too.
Yeah.
Just fun colors. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is really great.
Speaking of fun colors.
Yes.
Here's another finish. Now, I showed this in the last video, but now I've actually laced it onto a board. So I feel like it looks more done now than it did then. But this is Fungi Garden by UnaBuenaPieza. And it's just a gorgeous piece. I ended up stitching it on 14 count black Aida and used all the called for DMCs. And I'm just so tickled with how it came out.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. This is one that we could absolutely order a custom frame from Art to Frame. They would make one this long size. But Mallory's father is an amazing woodworker. And so we're going to let Dennis make the frame for this one.
I asked, would you be willing? And he said yes.
Yes.
So
it may wait a month or two for him to get to it.
And that's fine.
He has a nice
I don't have like a timeline or
Right.
anything. In fact, with it this way unframed, it's just the right size for it to go above my light switch in that little narrow piece of wall in my bedroom between closet door and door frame of our bedroom door. And so I've got it up there just with push pins holding it against the wall, kind of like I did with our big flea market flower baskets before the frame came. I just like having them up. Like it's just so nice to be able to look at it.
Absolutely. Whenever you finish something, seasonal or not, you have to display it for just a little while, even if it's, completely wrong. Even if you finish Christmas in July, you put that Christmas thing out there for you to look at it for a little while. Yeah.
Because you deserve to feel proud of yourself for finishing something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved this once she had laced it. To me, the robins became much more obvious, and the mushrooms and the snails, like each part of it really shined. So I think it's a really adorable.
And my children are still fighting over it.
Sure.
So I might have to stitch it a second time just so they each have their own copy.
And then you can hang one in each bedroom. I mean,
I suppose. Although UnaBuenaPieza has taken the same motifs from this pattern and made it as a round, like a smaller hoop finish.
Oh, that would be cute.
I might do that just to have.
I was going to say, you could do that twice and let them have those.
Fair.
And
this one's mine.
There you go. Then you don't have to share. I'm a fan of that. Yeah.
I don't mind sharing.
Right, but her children are 10 and 13, and they are at the age of persistent.
Yes.
Yes. So.
Not to be confused with the age of not believing.
No, right. Not the age of not believing. Oh, should we talk? So we watched movies while we were
on the island.
While
it
we
was
were on the
wonderful.
island.
They had a TV in the house for us, and then they had a collection of DVDs available. Right. So we didn't bring any of our own movies. We didn't think about that, but they had a great collection there. So we would just scroll through and go, let's watch.
Right. And so it was our joy to introduce movies to the children that they had not seen before. So one night we watched the horror movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Horror movie.
I stitched my next piece that I'm going to show while we were watching that movie. So.
Oh my goodness. So that was hilarious. Like, we watch fun movies. We watch funny things.
Hitch.
Hitch was a good one because we had just talked about how Aunt Maggie's allergic reaction made her look like Hitch. So it was good to have that, cemented in their minds, how quickly that can happen.
And how dangerous it is.
And how dangerous it is, exactly. And then the bird cage.
Love the bird cage.
Yes, which we all find to be a masterpiece.
And then we're all shrieking like Nathan Lane. Oh!
Yes, all week long. I wear the shoes, they make me fall down. We have all the lines. So the kids love that. And then I guess we ended the week with Galaxy Quest, which I cannot believe the children had not seen it before.
I know.
But they were both like, is that Mr. Monk? Is that, and who else is in it? I said, Buzz Lightyear. Like we had that conversation. So anyway, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a great one. But while we were watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I started working on a Kathy Haberman piece.
Oh.
So we did Spring Fling together and took the class that Kathy Haberman taught on how to finish This Bee's Got Knees.
Oh, I have that here. Wait a minute. I got to start.
That she made that is just beautiful. It's made sort of shaped like a plus sign and folds in on itself.
Okay. So I made a bag, a beachy kind of bag this time. And then I got to start on, look at my flosses all in a wad in there. Because but I had this piece of 26 count. It's
massive.
Massive, yes. But it's got a little sparkle, and it's kind of got the blue and anyway, it was a gift from someone, and I can't remember who sent it to me. It might have been my friend Beth. But anyway, I've had it in my stash. I was looking for something like raw linen or whatever, and I mostly wanted it to be something big so I could see. So I got to start on this bee's got knees, but that's how far I am. Like literally outlined it, and I have one little
But the
smidge.
shape is identical to the piece
Right.
that I worked on. While we were at the beach, I thought it would be fun to work on beachy things.
Of course.
Mom had several patterns that she had just not touched, set aside, and this was one of them. So this is called, oh gosh, Day at the Beach,
I
wanna
think
say.
so.
It's a Kathy Haberman design, and it is just adorable. These little seagulls perched on the little fence posts here of the dock. You can see the little beachy colored houses with they've got little flags blowing in the wind.
And see how tiny it is? Isn't it precious?
It's
and
so
it's
cute.
on what size linen did you do it on?
I want to say it was 32.
Yeah, probably so. Because you used 2 strands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could do a loop start on, and it's 32.
I love
so
my
it's a
loop
much
start.
smaller finish. The pattern, they were selling it at the Spring Mingle.
Spring Mingle. Oh, that's right. I said Spring Fling.
I was like,
Sorry.
that doesn't sound right. Anyway, they were selling it at the Spring Mingle in the shop. And
Right.
so I had ordered it thinking that would be something I would want to do. I may still stitch it because
It is
it's so
super
cute,
cute.
and I kind of want one in my travel case.
And it was
So-
really fun to stitch up while we were watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Oh, I also made a 1/1 seagull. So this is the same exact seagull from the pattern, but I stitched it 1/1.
Isn't that
instead of-
adorable? Right. And so she copied how to make the little pin, you know.
I cut a piece of felt for the back that's the same size and shape, and then just to make sure that I don't get unraveling, I dipped the edge the whole way around in some Aleene's tacky glue so that it would seal that linen and keep it nice and tidy looking.
Nice.
But making a little matching pen was something I wanted to do because that was part of Kathy's class. She showed how to do it on perforated paper. And
Yeah.
so she had this tiny count perforated paper, which is adorable. I didn't have that, but I had more of the linen, so I just went with that. Also, this is a fun Mallory touch to it because I decided I didn't want to do all the fish on the underside in the orange that Kathy had charted, so I did a rainbow.
That's
Rainbow
very
fish.
classic Mallory. In fact, one of the things you should know about Mallory is since the name Mallory has 7 letters, most of her childhood she wrote that in rainbow colors.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And when I was trying to get some feedback from my amazing husband, who is my guy that I bounce ideas off of, and suggested that maybe I do the fish in different colors, he was like, oh yeah, you have to do that.
right.
That's you.
Yes, very typical.
Okay, yeah. I did make the houses match what Kathy's original design looks like because I do like the uniformity of just those 3 colored houses on each
Well,
side.
those are 3 of our favorite colors.
They're great colors.
especially for beach houses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We saw these colors on Ochre Coast houses
course.
all week long.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
Yeah.
But the rainbow fish are just...
It reminds me of Charleston to have the bright colored houses like that. Yeah.
Anyway, this was a really happy, fun one to work on while we were in Ocracoke. I didn't get it finished until we got back home, but I'm really pleased with how it
I
turned out.
saw that Helen D had actually just finished it as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I can't remember if she did her own pins or not. Maybe she did. We'll have to look. I think she had a set of Jabco pins.
We
that
had
she-
these cute little beachy pins from when we went last October to the Barefoot Needle Arts retreat in Myrtle Beach. They gave us these cute little tiny buckets that looked like they would be sand buckets, and sticking into them were these adorable little pins made from beads and pearls and just fit perfectly with the beachy pin cushion theme here.
Yeah, I love them.
I like the way it all joined together at the bottom. I used a contrasting color. I had outlined the whole thing in brown, but came back with the same baby blue that's used for the waves to join it together. And I like the stripy effect that you
Yeah, I
get
do
when
too.
you
It makes it look more like rope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was really pleased with that. The little sand dollars down there are super cute. The design comes with a coordinating basket that the pincushion is supposed to sit in that says "Stitching by the Sea is where I always long to be," or something like that. And it's very cute. I haven't decided if I'm going to stitch that.
Right.
Because I enjoyed the pincushion, but I'm not sure if I want to do more linen immediately.
Right. Yeah,
know.
because you're still kind of...
I'm still very fresh to linen.
Yes.
So my birthday, I will be 36. I started my first linen project on 36 count fabric. I don't know that I have that down here to show.
Oh, we'll have to take a break so you can get it.
Yes. Anyway, but this is my second now linen project, and it came together so quick. I was not really expecting how easy it'd be to stitch on. So
You've kind of gotten the hang on it. Mallory did some transition work by stitching on
Lugana, even weave,
and I think that's the trick. If you're stitching on Ada primarily now, and you can stitch on smaller Ada, like if you like Ada not just 14 count, but you like 18 count,
20 count,
or 20 count, if you can do that, then odds are you should transition to stitch on some Lugana and see how you like that. Even weave is always a easier thing to work on because there are no slubs, there's no uneven thread widths.
That was a weird part about working on linen, is having to just get over the fact that some of my strands are just going to be narrower than others, and so some of your X's are a little more slender than others.
Right.
You just have to get over that because it does all blend out.
It does.
As you continue stitching. So it was delightful to work on and very nice little beachy project.
And what did you say that is called? Stitching by the Sea or something?
A day at the beach.
A day at the beach. Okay.
Something like that. Sorry, Kathy.
All right.
I'm terrible with remembering these pattern names.
That's okay. We'll pull the pattern out.
I actually have it right here.
If Mallory has the pattern, we'll show it to you right now.
Yep, there it is. Stitching by the Sea.
Okay.
Stitching by the Sea. Kathy Haberman does such a beautiful job at putting these together. The maths out. It's marvelous. And you can see in the image here that it's got this little stitching box that the pincushion can rest in.
Yeah.
Which is very cute. I say box, it's more of a basket. But I'm still on the fence. Should I make it? You guys let me know in the comments because I don't know. But super cute. Thank you, Kathy, for a beautiful design.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just stitch the basket since I haven't started the pincushion, and then I thought that would make a great wart container. Like
that's
to have
brilliant.
in a sea-themed travel box, you know.
You've got several sea-themed projects going.
I really do. I really do.
It'd
Okay.
be nice to have a little matching Ort container.
Right. What other finishes do you have?
Oh boy, let's take a look here. Some of the things that I finished are not going to be cross-stitch. Because it is my birthday, I wanted to share some of the things that I also enjoy doing. So sorry, FlossTube, we're going to deviate a little bit in this video. But this is another Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design. This is Day at the Beach. And it's so cute. It's from their Mad for Plaid series that she did. So all of the little motifs here have a sort of plaid or patchwork design element to them. But look how cute it is.
It's so cute.
Guys, it's so cute.
And I had bought a couple of the On the Edge display boards from Chantel's 141 that Mallory could have painted to display it on, but I gave them away at Stitch East as store prizes. So I've got to order one of those again.
Right.
Or
honestly, I like the way that this is finished here, where she just did a coordinating fabric on a slightly larger mat board. I might do that and just finish it that way and just do a ribbon at the bottom.
But then you see the wooden piece that it's on.
Yeah,
that is.
But does it need it?
Well, but then where do you hang it is kind of the idea. Once you put the stuff on the back, you know.
But then it's like, it's just a stand-up finish, right?
Sure,
so like I could
do the
finish it so it's got one of my little place card holders.
Absolutely.
And then it could stand up by itself and just be a thing.
Yeah, that would work fine. That would work just fine.
I do like the way that I made a couple of modifications to the original pattern simply because I thought that the sea turtles read better if the flippers and the heads were the same colors.
Okay.
So she had used those 2 tones of green to make the sea turtles on the original design.
Right.
I guess I'm picky. I don't know. it didn't read as well as having brown heads. And so I made that change. But everything else is called for colors and everything. Do you remember the color name of this fabric? I think it was like slate or chalkboard.
I think it's chalkboard, yeah.
Yes, and it's just Ada.
It's chalkboard black, yeah.
Yes, and really fun to stitch on.
Good.
But again, lighting.
Yes.
When you're working on this kind of dark fabric, you need good light. So I wasn't able to stitch on this on our rainy day.
No.
Ochre coat.
Right.
But really pleased with how it turned out. And that was my
I've
first
had
finish.
that kitted for a long time. Do you still have the floss drops with you?
No, not handy. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's all right.
Yes, the floss drops are lovely. Do you want me to go grab them?
No, it's okay. But I bought some wooden floss drops from Barefoot Needle Arts after they had a beach retreat maybe 2 years ago. And there were, they're just beach themed. And so I had kitted that up and had it ready to go. And when we were getting ready to go on our trip, I pulled out some things that I've had kitted on Ada for a while that I probably will never get back to, and said, hey, how about this one, Mallory? You want to stitch this? How about this one, Mallory? You want to stitch this?
I love it when you do that. It's fantastic.
This is why people sometimes say I live in a stitch shop, though.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, and because of Google making your business, your long arm business, look like this is a store, people do mistakenly show up here expecting that they're going to be able to shop through your fabrics.
Yes, they can have them. It's okay, though.
Not for sale.
No,
Not for sale.
That's right.
I'm trying to think if I had another finish. Oh, no, I just have an in progress, which is the Let's Talk Stitching.
Okay, show that.
Okay. So this is a fun one because Mom had this already kitted up all cute. This is another hands-on design. Can you tell I've got a theme going here today, guys? But this one is Let's Talk Stitching, a chalk talk design, and I loved it because, of course, I've just finished my black fabric project, so I was looking for another. And
that's kind of why I handed her these two, because I knew she said I really need something else to
I
stitch
do need
on
to
black.
show off these floss drops.
Right, I ordered these from LindyStitches.
Look at these little frogs, you guys. And with the frog on the chart, these just fit so perfectly. I just used a little bit of address label stuck to the back there so that I could write the number of the DMC and what the symbol on the chart looks like to coordinate with it. They're so cute.
They're super cute.
I thought at first that these were 3D printed. And it took one of them actually breaking for me to say, oh man, this 3D printed stuff is so flimsy. And my husband said, yeah, that's just laser cut acrylic. That's not 3D printed. And I was like, oh, but this little guy lost the very tippy top of his head. And I've got that little extra piece down in here.
So maybe some super glue.
So yeah, he offered to super glue it for me, and I was like, I don't know if I will trust that it's going to stay together that way. But
sure,
just lost that little thin bit there.
Okay.
So
Well.
I've got one frog that's on his own because of that. But I'm really enjoying working on this piece, and I've gotten a lot done. One thing to mention, however, is while I did use all of the recommended flosses, I did make color changes, and I did rechart part of it.
That's fine. Everybody's allowed to play.
So here's how far I've gotten on Let's Talk Cross Stitch. Clearly, I am missing the part that says cross stitch down that side, but I was distracted because you guys, I've got these cute little frog floss drops, and it says frog on the chart, and it had what looked to me like a toad sitting in the corner. And Kathy, you do a beautiful job. But for some reason, this frog didn't speak to me.
Oh, that's okay.
And so I looked at him long and hard and was like, I think I want to do something different. So using the exact same color palette, I recharted a little frog who I feel like is a little happier. I grew up watching Sesame Street, so he's a little more Kermity, and that makes him friendly. I don't know.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm really pleased with how it's all coming out. The colors are so fun to work with, and I don't know what it is about black fabric, but black Ada is fun to stitch on.
Yeah, I think it turns out really great. That's looking good. Cute. So I started the companion piece to this, Let's Talk Quilting, years ago.
Is it a quilted project or is it a cross stitch?
It's
project?
cross stitch
Okay.
that's identical to this, that it's words, it's chalk talk.
Right.
And it's Let's Talk Quilting. And my idea was that I was going to finish these two pieces and hang them side by side in my studio, because at the time I was the only one in the house that was really stitching. Mallory hadn't come back to stitching yet.
I know. It's one of those cyclical things.
Yeah.
You fall in and out of different hobbies, and
Right.
I was out of a cross stitch era for a short time.
Yeah. So anyway, but this one I still haven't finished Let's Talk Quilting. So I had this fully kitted, but I had not started it at all. So that made it nice that she was able to jump right in.
I started on my Smyrna crosses.
Nice.
I'm doing them the Kimberly Jolly method, which is to do your horizontal and verticals first and then make a big cross on top, rather than Kathy Haberman's way, which has the vertical and horizontal on top.
Right.
And I feel like, for whatever reason, that plus sign stands out against the rest of the cross stitches, and it just looks like, oh, that's not a cross stitch, you know?
Right. I would say that'll vary from
Person to person.
well, and from project to project.
Sure.
So on this one, where you're specifically talking about cross stitching, having larger X's up there makes sense
to me.
But I thought the same. I actually tried making Smyrna crosses Kim's way on a project, and ultimately decided I did not like the way they looked like that. I like them better when they look like Smyrna crosses, you know. So anyway, I think it just depends from project to project which way you want to go with them. Yeah.
And as well as, you know, your thread quality, like what you're using, what you're stitching on, what kind of fabric, all of those
the
are variables.
size of those crosses, you know, I mean, and whether you're replacing what's actually supposed to be, not Smyrna crosses, but what is it called where you go in and out of the middle hole?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I've lost the word, people, and Mallory doesn't do fancy stitches. So
We'll research and it will go right here.
okay, so anyway,
It's called,
sometimes
there it is.
sometimes instead of doing that stitch, I'll replace it with a Smyrna cross because it's much easier than to do whatever that other thing is called that you now know.
That's fair.
Okay.
That is fair. All right. Well, I think that's all the new stuff I had to show. That's cross stitch, I should say.
Okay.
All my new cross stitch stuff.
Well, I'm going to show you. So Mary Finley is by the Scarlet House. I hope you can see it in this bag. We could take it. No, it's probably fine. And I ordered it from Kitten Stitcher because she also had the called for fabric. And I got a little start on it during the spring mingle, and then I did work on it a little bit on ochre coke. I started putting in the little red berries around the border and carrying the border on across, and then I decided, you know what, I better go ahead and finish out the width. So this is how big it's going to be. It's a tiny, but it'll be longer than it is wide.
Yeah.
But it is going to be a small sampler on 40 count. This is antique button box, medium dark, from Mason Linen. And so it looks much darker than the picture of the chart does, but it is the called for fabric. So,
you know, that happens so frequently. They photograph a cross stitch piece and then have to tweak the color so that it stands out nicely in a photo image. Mm-hmm. But so often it just does not look like it does in person as a result. Which is why I love seeing the models in actual stores.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just getting to be in the presence of the actual cross stitch makes me so inspired.
Or sometimes, because the photo on the cover is what attracts your attention, you can always just choose your own fabric choice.
Sure.
This one is stitched with NPI silks, and so I ordered those silks to go with the chart, and then I just decided to stitch it as called for because Scarlet House can't really mess that up. So I have Sea Apple. I also worked on ochre coke because it's on a light fabric. Again, I think I only stitched on it maybe a couple of mornings before people were up and going, and then when we left the house it never came out again. But I did get a nice start on the verse and a couple more animals in on the linen. This is Vicki Clayton linen in the color The Wind Lies. Mm-hmm. And then it's not the called for floss, but it is floss from my stash in the same colors. You know, I'm not changing the coloration at all. Mm-hmm. So, and it's the Sea Apple is by Gardener's Needles, Susan Robidy, and I just love it. I mean, it's got Adam and Eve as mermaids. What's not to love? I did get, you know, just enough of the verse. So the verse is done in 2 colors of dark blue. So it's a very subtle difference, but it was enough thread changing that, you know, that's as far as I got before I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with that. So I'll keep working on it. It's lovely. Yes, I enjoy it very much.
And it matches this beautiful bag made for me by Lori Millsap.
Yeah, so I whipped up a couple of bags yesterday. I have a big quilt in the frame, and it's taken, you know, almost 30 minutes a row. And so it was easy enough. And I've had these fabrics set aside to make project bags for a while. I did a lining that says, you make me smile. You know, it's got a little smiley face in
So
there.
our linings match.
Our linings and the top edge match. And then I loved these coral little tiny fish. And
I love the whales.
Mallory loved the whales. I have enough whale fabric to make another one. I will if I feel like I want to, but I just was making them 2 at a time. 2 at a time is easy enough. Like when I get in real production mode and I have to make, you know, a dozen bags, then it has to have my undivided attention. But with 2, I used originally the tutorial from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. It's very forgiving, super easy. You can make them whatever size you want. So then I made them the size that match bags that I buy from my favorite bag makers. So one of those would be Buckleberry, for example. Her bags are wonderful. I will never make bags as beautifully as she does. Like, look at this thing with its fancy trims built in. And I mean, she just does gorgeous work. So I actually have a bag coming from her that I've ordered because I'll never just stop.
We never have too many bags.
No, and I'll never stop buying bags from others just because you know, it just takes some time, and it's easier for me sometimes to just pay a bag maker. Plus, I love the fabrics they choose. I don't always want to invest in buying the fabrics that they're using. So these were some I already had. I do have a nice fabric stash, so I can make bags from, you know, some of my favorite fabrics when I have time. So this Buckleberry bag, though, that I had out actually houses Agnes Carn's 1815, which is the chart that was chosen by Karen of Fox and Rabbit to be her birthday stitch. And so because it was a Fox and Rabbit inspired start for me, I chose Fox and Rabbit Inca as the fabric. And I worked on this quite a bit. This is 40 count Inca. I worked on it a good bit at Ochre Coat because it's light fabric, but the PDF of this chart does not print in a way that you can work from paper. It just doesn't. It is the tiniest, impossible to read thing that you can possibly imagine. So I, you know, use Markup RXP, so PDFs are great. I'm happy to use the PDF of this chart. And, you know, obviously I'm reading it fine and able to stitch all the way across. This is the width of the chart. I cut my linen too small. I knew immediately that I had done so. So I started very close to this edge. I actually thought I was worse than I was. So I'm going to have plenty of room. And we'll frame it ourselves. I'll order a frame from Art to Frame, so it won't be a problem. But
You can get your personal finisher to do that for you.
exactly. So this piece, though, I must work off my iPad to be able to do it. And I was going to say, the other thing I bought myself this week, these are the bigger bobbin boat from Dritz. And these are the exact number of Vicki Clayton silks that you need for Agnes Carn.
That's so smart.
This is a very nice storage system for this particular chart. So it holds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Holds 9 Vicki Clayton silks perfectly. And you know, there's doubles of the red and doubles of the green because this is a lot of red and green in this chart. Yeah, in fact, I think that this may be 12 strands. Like I may have cut 2 lengths now of silk to get to this far. So it's a lot of stitching. Yeah. So, but it's beautiful, and you know, I'm sticking with just getting that green in there. I probably will come back and start adding some red pretty soon just because I have to mix it up some. But I learned when I was stitching Anne Hunt that, you know, getting that green border in made it easy then for me to, you know, go back and get those flowers done.
Sure.
So anyway, I think it's beautiful. It's a very elaborate border. Like just all of the the X's, the 9 patches that connect these different
Right.
parts. It's just so beautiful to me. So this will be a lovely one to have on the wall. I started, you know, it's more of a start along than a, you know, deadline or anything, but I can't wait to get down to that big house because it's just that gorgeous corally red. So I think it will be a fun thing to stitch.
Lovely.
All right, and so then last but not least, so the day we shot our floss tube, I said I had started 7 things and it was only the 6th, and I said, and I'm probably going to start an 8th thing tonight, and I did. And not only did I start it, but I fell in love with it, and that is from Sampler Bird Stitchery, Blessed Are the Merciful. It's a Quaker inspired sampler. It's by Robin Chappell of Sampler Bird Stitchery. It is gorgeous. It was the Dying to Stitch sampler kit that we'll get 4 this year. And so it just showed up in the mail. You know, I didn't know what it was going to be. It had all the threads. It had the linen. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to start it. So I started it. And this is where I am.
Oh my gosh.
So I started this.
Okay, give me that.
I know.
Crazy.
I started it on May 6th. And today's May 24th. We didn't mention that because Mallory will get this edited and it's actually going to go live on her birthday tomorrow, May 25th. So, you know, it's just beautiful. It's so springy. I think that's why I can't put it down, is it's just the bright pinks, the bright, you know, yellows and the bright purple. Like, those colors are so pretty. The border was super fun to stitch. It was very, very regular. The chart is easy to read, so I can, you know, stitch from paper very easily. It's the verse here in the center is over 1, but it's over 1 on 36 count French vanilla from R&R Reproductions, and R&R fabric is a looser weave. I would say a 36 in R&R is feels more like a 32 in other fabrics. So it's a very easy linen to stitch on as a 36. It's easy as a 40. I mean, I almost always default to 40 with R&R because I want it to feel more like 36 does. So anyway, it's very easy to stitch on. I'm doing 1 strand over 2 linen threads, and it's just going super fast.
It's gorgeous.
I love it. I love everything about it. I went ahead and even did the over 1 2025 when I put my initials in there and went, well, I guess I'm stitching this until I finish it. So
You've committed now.
right. So the piece is shown with this gold frame, and that's the frame I've ordered from Art to Stitch. Like, as soon as I finished the border completely, I went ahead and placed my order.
Nice.
So my frame will be here sometime around the beginning of summer, and then I'll be ready to get it framed right away.
Yay.
So, and I do hope I can finish this in the next, you know, 2 or 3 days. I think it won't take me much longer. I'm right. I was working on this basket this morning, so I'm ready to lay in the basket part of this piece. And then there's another mirrored bird here with a mirrored butterfly that goes here, and then a center motif here that's, you know, fairly large.
I love that butterfly. It's so tiny.
It is. It's so tiny and so cute. Yes.
It's so
So
little.
I will say the only thing is I'm a very frugal thread user. I use all the way to the end. I do pin stitch starts, and I bring that pin stitch start down to, you know, 1/2 inch of thread extended. So I'm losing 1/2 inch at the start, and then I stitch down to where I can almost not get my needle under. I use every scrap of thread, and I'm running low on some colors. So
That's why you're scrambling to find chickpea this morning.
That's exactly why. I went through every, you know, kitted thing I have. I finally, in my gingerbread house from Stacy Nash from the Jingle Ball, found some chickpea and pulled a 6-strand length out of there, and now I feel like I'll be able to finish. But I was down to just 1 single strand of chickpea, and I've still got to do it inside this basket, and you know, a little bit on the bird that will go here, and the little butterfly. And I was like, I just don't trust that I'm gonna have quite enough. So I found some more chickpea in my stash, and the hibiscus that is the light pink. Fortunately, I had one of those in my stash, and the purple haze that is the purple. I have one of those in my stash too. So those are the 3 that I'm the lowest on. I still have enough blue coat red, which is what the darker pink is. Isn't that funny that it's blue coat red? But anyway, the whole piece, I mean, everything about it. I love these 2 shades of green that are used. They are so collards. Collards and scuppernong are the 2 greens. And they're just, you know, I love it so much. It would be a great chart. I mean, if it weren't like next year when the chart just comes out, I could imagine recoloring this with color and cotton. There are some color and cotton threads that would this would be beautiful.
And I love like each of these separate motifs. Like this would make a lovely pincushion or needlebook. This would as well.
I actually have this. I had run out of project bags. And so I have this in a pink and white gingham. It's So Emma plastic bag.
The Mad for Plaid.
Yeah, but it's the gingham mesh bag, not the plaid mesh bag. Anyway, it's pink and white. And I actually, before I fell in love with this and have powered through it, thought that I was going to take this motif and stitch it on the outside of the bag.
That would be really cute.
And I may still do that because it's so pretty. Yeah, it was really nice. And, you know, I, for the most part, have done it exactly as charted. I have found a couple of little mistakes that I had made, and instead of fixing them, I chose to leave them because the whole point of this, the verse says, "Teach me to feel another's woe, to hide the faults I see, that mercy I to others show, that mercy showed to me." And so I really love the verse in this. Oh, and the other thing, of course, I've left to the very end is all the satin stitching. So this verse will be outlined with a sawtooth border in satin stitch in parchment, in a pale white.
Like the one used in the flowers above right next to those top
Exactly,
birds?
like that center flower there. And so will these yellow flowers. Will have parchment in the middle. I just haven't done them yet. And then it'll be
satin stitching around
satin
the edge.
stitch all the way around in this inside. So that will take me a little while, you know, and part of why I wasn't in a hurry for that frame to come. It'll be here soon enough.
Right. You've got lots more stitching to do.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous, Mom.
Yeah,
It's lovely.
I love how it's coming out. It's probably one of my favorite things that I've worked on lately. And, you know, and I work on some pretty things. I mean, aren't we supposed to love all the things we're working on?
That's right.
But, you know, anyway, I'm very pleased with it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. This was one of the things that I bought myself on the island. I was looking for an orc tray. And, you know, this is ceramic, so I don't know how much I'll travel with it, but I've enjoyed having it sitting next to me. It just says everything takes time. And I feel like that's a very important thing to be reminded when you're stitching. Sometimes I get impatient with a project and I'm ready for it to be done, you know. But not only does everything take time, you know, island time quilting, time is part of my focus, and we're stitching on island time. Time is
an illusion.
It kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, you know, it is one of the things I think about a lot. And so, anyway, I also picked myself up these little Post-it notes because this is Are We Still Going? That's my attempt to cancel plans. This one says, I'm super excited about a brand new week of hanging on by a thread. But see, I actually am super excited about a brand new week of hanging on to a thread. So I kind of love that one. And then this one is like, could be my life motto. I learned this one at my mother's knee. Procrastination is a good thing. You always have something to do tomorrow, plus you have nothing to do today. Which is just, you know, the best.
Oh my gosh.
The best. Oh, I got new earrings too. Everyone
they're so pretty.
enjoy their watermelon tourmaline.
They're
Sure.
lovely.
But I do love them, and a couple of t-shirts. You know how you do when you're on an
when you
island.
go to the beach, and they had beautiful things in all of the shops. When you bought these earrings and said, help me remember their watermelon tourmaline, and my husband immediately said, watermelon tourmaline, like Alexander Hamilton, and I was like, I love you so much.
Yes, we're so glad.
He's the best.
No, that is the best, actually.
He's the best.
Yeah, I was afraid. Oh, I got a lot of stickers. I haven't shown you guys my book of days, but like we were talking about the taco before we started. It says...
every now and then I fall apart.
Yes, there you go. Every now and then I fall apart. And then for June, and I'll talk about that when we're talking about June a little bit more, but I put this frog that says, I can't live, laugh, love in these conditions. And I just loved him. He's such a grumpy little guy. I actually got a couple more and I stuck them in the back. It says, at the beach, time you enjoyed wasting is not wasted.
I love that. That's
Yeah,
so true.
that's actually what the back of this t-shirt says.
Oh, is it really?
Something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the Moonraker Tea Shop, one of my favorite places on the island. And I just love these little fireflies.
Oh,
They
that's
made me
cool.
happy.
I love that
So,
effect.
Yeah.
Stickers with effects have always been fun for me. I'm a 90s kid, so.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, stuck a few stickers in there just to enjoy.
Well, can I show some of the other kinds of things that I like to make?
I would love for you to do that.
Because
Absolutely.
cross stitch is not it, y'all.
No.
You saw my painting, but I do lots of things.
Sure.
And so one of the things that I've learned over the last 2 years is how to knit. And so this is a shawl that I made where I was teaching myself different knit stitches. So starting down here, I did a increasing shawl. So it's just the bottom corner where I started. I followed one motif, and then when the color changed in the yarn, I switched to a different knit stitch pattern and did it again in the gray and in the purple.
So was it one variegated yarn that was these colors? Oh, that's
This
fantastic.
was one cake of Karen yarn, and it just made this gorgeous, gorgeous shawl with lots of texture to it because of all the different knit stitches that I employed. I was using a knit stitch dictionary. I would just shuffle through and go, that one looks cool.
I
and
love
try to
it
do
so
that.
much. You know, I was just thinking we probably ought to send a prayer shawl to Papa as I go.
That's true.
'cause
I
thought
actually
about that as-
hadn't thought of that. I
Yeah.
do a lot of shawls. One of the things that I enjoy to do is make for our ministries with our church. And so this was originally going to be a prayer shawl donated to our church, and instead, surprise, Gran, this is going to you.
Oh, yay. Well, I told her when she made it, I said, okay, here's the thing. That's too pretty to just give away. But you know what? That's
I
not.
give away lots of pretty things.
I was
What do
going
you
to say,
mean?
and that is not our philosophy. As I
Yes.
say, that's too pretty to give away. Almost always, that's when I know a quilt is a charity quilt, when I love it so much that I'd like to keep it. That's exactly when you do give it away.
Absolutely.
And that's what you should be making for other people.
Right.
Things that, you wish you were yours. So, yeah.
And it was mine while my hands were making it.
Oh, I
but
love it so much.
It's going to a beautiful home on a beautiful lady. So
I love it so much and I will wear it so often. You know me. This is just love these colors.
And then I make lots of things, but one of the things that I haven't done this year yet is have a craft fair. But when I do, I always have lots of things that I've made that I can show from craft fairs. These are just a few of the little things that I like to make. I really enjoy knitting color work. So here is just a little cowl or neck warmer that I made using some very nice non-pill yarn. So this should launder really nicely. Anyway, just grabbed 3 colors and took this with me actually the last time we went to Ocracoke.
See, this would be so nice for someone that lives in a northern state, just to pull it on with and not have to have a scarf tail in the way.
Right.
And $28 is the price tag that she has on this. So if any of you out there decide this is the one for you to wear with your winter coat, you just need to send me an email at stitchingonislandtime@gmail.com, and perhaps this could be yours.
I didn't know this was going to turn into an ad show. That's cool. All right, so this is one of my own designs. This is what I call a chunky boy. He's a little mushroom. You can see he's got little spots on his mushroom cap head. And what makes them extra fun is their little booties. So I got little butt cheeks on the back side. This was inspired because my children think butts are hilarious.
Nice.
That's really the main thing. And mushrooms, why not?
Sure.
As you saw from Fungi Garden, I kind of like mushrooms. So this is one of my original designs. I make lots of toys. I try to make a toy a week. Toy Tuesday is when I'm usually working on a toy. Another one of my original designs, this is a Dumbo octopus. And I really just wanted a pattern for an octopus that didn't involve any sewing. Because sewing on all of the arms is tedious and I lose patience at about arm 4.
Sure. I can see that.
And then it's too late. It's like, well, I'm halfway through the arms. I have to keep going.
Right.
But this little guy is worked in the round with no sewing at all.
Nice.
So if you are interested in getting a pattern of my Dumbo octopus, let me know because I'm happy to share that for free.
All right.
I make lots
Very
of hats. Cute. This was made on a loom. And so this is a yarn that I bought at Michael's just because it was pretty. Worked on a loom and then finished with some crochet stitching around the edge and a matching pom-pom on the top.
Oh, I love that.
So I do
Soft.
It's so soft. I do lots of things like that where I like to have a project going in my lap while we're watching a movie or doing something that my hands can be moving. So this is easier for me to work on and to pay attention to something new than cross-stitching.
Sure.
Now this is really fun. This is another color work piece. Rather than being a cowl, this is an ear warmer. So I designed this to look like it had snowflakes on it. It's kind of Christmassy and fun. But again, I just make things, y'all.
Mm-hmm. That one's really cute.
Here's another one of my mushy boys.
It's $15. $15 for this ear warmer. Look how cute it is. I would model it, but then my hair would look cray-cray.
Speaking of Christmassy things, hold those up for me.
Oh, look how cute.
I make little cozies to go around your coffee cup that have little Christmas wreaths on them. Here's another mushy boy. Mm-hmm. There's another octopus guy.
Oh, these are great. Yeah, you know, this would be super easy if you didn't have it open at the bottom to slip a gift card in.
Oh, that's fair. Mm-hmm. And it'd be easy enough just to sew the bottom closed. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, so those are very cute.
Anyway, another one of my ministries that I'm working on frequently is for the Linus Project, which is a blanket ministry for children who need a comfort item. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a child in the hospital, someone who has just been relocated from one home to another, or left a traumatic situation.
Sure.
The Linus Project, inspired by the Peanuts Linus, who carried around his little blue blanket all the time, they get blankets to those children. And one of the things that I've been doing lately is crocheting around pieces of fleece. So here is one that I made, actually upside down, sorry, for my husband. And he keeps it in his car typically, but I grabbed it this morning to snuggle under it because it's so nice and cozy.
Oh, and you crocheted plaid. Look at you.
So this was one of the things that I wanted to show off. The border here, buffalo plaid being one of our favorite patterns. I could not, for the life of me, find a pattern for buffalo plaid that was reversible. So I had to make it up. And y'all, I did it.
Look at you go. Reversible buffalo plaid edging on a fleece blanket.
And what's nice about these blankets is they are super soft in the fleece sections. And that crocheted edge just adds a little bit of weight. And then the handmade quality that Linus Project blankets are looking for.
Sure.
So it's
a
really
lot
nice.
Faster than having to crochet an entire blanket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And
although this is extra to have reversible buffalo plaid.
It is a little extra.
You usually just do like a little crocheted.
It's true. I usually
lace
do
or something.
moss stitch is one of my favorite ones to add edging to these kind of blankets. It's just done with single crochet and a chain one, where when you work around the second time, you work your single crochet into the chain one space. So you end up with what kind of looks like linen as you worked around multiple rows. So I enjoy lots of different stitches in crochet, and I just thought that this one was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic.
But yes, I do lots of things.
She really does. She's very multi-talented. Plus the cooking and the baking and the decorating of cakes and cookies.
Right.
You know, is the next level of her art form.
Yeah, I really enjoy making things. Oh, I just noticed these guys are matching yarns. Look how cute they are. They're friends.
Oh, sure. They would be cute together.
Guys, I'm 36 years old and I play with crochet toys. And what's really funny is only about half of the toys I produce ever get to make it to one of my craft sales. Because if it's a really cute one of my children will say, "Oh, is that for me? Thanks, Mom."
Right? That's
And
so
I never
funny.
see that one again.
They are good at that. Exactly. Yeah. And they love them. It's not like they just hoard them like dragons, although there's some of that. But they, you know, frequently I will see Gumdrop, especially with
My youngest,
with
10-year-old.
Right, with one of her crocheted toys as her preferred friend for the day.
Yes.
So,
And as homeschoolers, we have more time in our schedule for imaginative play. And so even my 13-year-old, who's, you know, grown up and too old for this sometimes, will still enjoy getting some one-on-one time with the younger sibling and just playing with toys and making them talk to each other and have a whole imagined world where they all live.
Yeah.
So,
and it's nice to have that in the real space versus the digital space, because they
Right.
also do that on games
Minecraft
that they play
and-
together.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And I actually think the way that they do that is hilarious. Because I remember doing the same thing with my younger sister, Maggie, where we would play with our Legos and make our Lego pieces talk to each other. The only problem with that is Legos, when you step on them, hurt.
Right. That's
But I
fair.
don't step on any Minecraft blocks.
That's fantastic. That's right. Yeah.
The power of technology.
The power there is fantastic. Okay. Well, do you have plans coming up
So many plans.
besides your birthday tomorrow?
Yes, I'm excited for my birthday. We picked out a giant chocolate chip cookie cake.
Everyone
so-
else will be really thrilled. She's allowed one small bite.
Yes, I really can't have the sugar, but I did find some sugar-free options, including keto frosting.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm interested to try that. It was on closeout clearance, which probably means it's not
delicious.
great,
Right.
but you know, I'm gonna try it.
sure. Might as well.
We'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's good.
Who knows? Who knows?
It's
Oh
so
my
hard
goodness.
being a baker and enjoying all of the cookie and cake decorating that I do when I can't eat sugar.
Right.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I have lots of test tasters that are willing to fall on that sword for me.
Yes. That's very true. Well, I have a couple of things. One is that I had 2 extra bags, exactly like bags that I made for me and Mallory, that are this wonderful. So this fabric I picked up at our local quilt shop, Little Dutch Girl Quilts, and it is called Pirate Soup, which I just loved. It's wonderful, sort of a corally red background with the blue and white sea creatures all over it. And I lined it with this piece of Lakeside Gatherings and used a Bonnie and Camille
For the
piece on top.
contrasting
Yep.
piece. Yep.
So I have 2 of these to give away.
Ooh.
So if you will comment on this video,
Make sure you live within the United States and are over the age of 18.
that sounds great. And let's use the word Mallory, since May is for Mallory. And her name is 2 L's. So Mallory, Mallory. If you say something to Mallory to tell her happy birthday or any other things you want to say about Mallory, then you'll be entered in the giveaway for one of these 2 bags, and I will pick 2 names and we will announce them on our next video.
Yay.
So those
I forgot to mention, I'm a mother again. One of my
That
birthday
is a big-
presents that I
yes.
went ahead and bought for myself, I warned my husband, I just bought 10 new chickens.
Yes, and they're so adorable.
They're so cute. I got a variety of different breeds. I can't tell you what they all are. Here's a picture. Aren't they cute? But I have the biggest thing for baby animals. It doesn't matter if they're little people, little critters. I love babies. And so I've just been sort of draped over the side of my couch right next to their brooding box and just watching them. I call it chick TV.
Yes, one of my friends, when I said that Mallory had bought new chickens, they asked how are the other chickens handling them. And I said, oh, no, these babies are still in the house. They don't go outside with the other chickens for weeks. They're being loved
They're
on.
my babies.
That's right.
They've got just the littlest tiny flight feathers starting to come in now. And it's the cutest thing because it's itchy as they're getting grown up. They're big kid feathers is what I keep calling them. And so they'll stop what they're doing and they'll scratch, scratch, scratch at their wing and then do this gigantic stretch and yawn. And I just melt. I melt. I can't take it.
That's great.
I texted my oldest daughter and said, oh my gosh, one of them just yawned. I think I'm going to die. And so she came in to check on me and she's like, are you good?
That's awesome.
Don't actually.
That's right. No, don't actually.
But I love them so much.
That's right. Awesome.
So if I'm broody, you know why.
Because she's got chicken babies. Yes. I have one plan. I put it in this portfolio from Rika. So I'm going to I got Mary Ann Farmer this week. I watched the new video from the attic. Caroline was interviewing Tanya. Yeah, I don't have enough. I can't balance things anymore here. Okay,
sorry.
Anyway. Tanya from the Scarlet House was at the attic, and so they were showing, they have a whole corner of the attic dedicated to Tanya, but they were showing this piece, and I feel like a couple of people are doing a Mary Ann Farmer stitch along right now, but I wasn't able to find a stitch along. Like, I don't remember which FlossTube I was watching that mentioned Mary Ann Farmer. Oh. And then I know I saw it on the attic, and that's when I had already ordered it when I then saw somebody say on their FlossTube that they were stitching Mary Ann Farmer. So let me know if you're the one stitching Mary Ann Farmer, because I have everything ready to go. It's going to be stitched with NPIs. I've picked this boardwalk from Color and Cotton as my ground fabric, and I've got the NPIs, and I'm going to start this one as part of my summer plans, which is to stitch reproduction samplers exclusively. I'm going to just, well, that word exclusively sounds much more harsh than I mean it to be. I'm going to try and pick up a different sampler a week or so. And then I've still got all the things because I'm going to work on my sparrow and I'm going to work on my anniversary of the heart and I'm going to work, so I still have other things.
So you're not doing this in lieu of Whip Go?
No, and I still have some Whip Go. So in fact, May's Whip Go pieces, the one that's coming up for me to work on in the next week is Joy Be Thine by Jeanette Douglas, which I just love. So I'm definitely going to have that one with me.
Yeah.
And work on it some. But mostly I'm going to focus on samplers that are girls' names. And so I have several of those going right now. The Agnes Cairns, the
Mary Finley?
Yeah, Mary Finley and 2 or 3 others. So those are the ones. I'm going to focus on whips first, and as the summer progresses, I'm going to start things like Mary Ann Farmer, and I think I've got 6 others fully kitted that I could start. So by sampler September, I think I'll have all new starts. I'll be jumping in, with fully kitted sampler starts. But I just want to work on a lot of samplers over the next 2-3 months. So, and that, a little bit more about our plans. Dennis and I are going to be traveling for the next few weeks. Dennis's father had a total knee replacement on Thursday morning. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. He'll be 90 in August. They did his surgery, had him in a chair 2 hours later, had him standing and then walking and then home later that afternoon.
That's incredible.
It's just phenomenal. So we're going to tag team in and help care for his parents while his sister travels a little bit this summer. So we're headed down there to take care of them.
We've also sort of impromptu come up with another stitchy day that we're going to be taking for ourselves. we're going up to Williamsburg so
Yeah.
that I can get to see Liberty Hill in person for the
Yes.
first time.
So
I'm
Liberty Hill
excited.
Needlework, they have a wonderful online presence, and they have a beautiful shop. So I would highly suggest that if you're in the Williamsburg area that you visit them. It's a fabulous shop. They are hosting a stitching day on the first day of summer, on June 21st. And so we have a friend who had a timeshare. And so a group of us flossy floozies are all going up together for that weekend and go to that day of stitching. It's going to be a absolute hoot.
I'm so excited.
I'm hoping that our travels don't preclude me from being able to go. Mallory's going regardless. Yeah, she's here, so she'll be able to get away for that weekend. Williamsburg is about 3 hours from us. So it's not a bad drive. Yeah.
About as long as it would take us to get to Barefoot or Dying to Stitch.
Yeah.
Our other local needlework shops.
Yeah, Stitching Kitten's probably a little further at about
4.5.
Yeah, but yeah, so those are our local shops. We don't have anything right here, so
That's right. We're really jealous of all of you guys on FlossTube who tell us about your shops that are 10 minutes away from your home. That's fantastic. We're horribly jealous.
Yes, we don't have
But we are
that.
so happy for you also.
Right.
So enjoy that.
What we do have, a couple of weeks ago, Dennis and I got to go on a little 2-day trip down to the beach, and before we went to Ocracoke and took the Airstream. And what we do have down there is a wonderful local yarn shop. And since Mallory's birthday is tomorrow, I went ahead and picked her up a birthday gift that I'm going to have her open while we're filming FlossTube.
Oh my gosh!
So this is a surprise for her. So this is her haul, and it's her birthday.
Salty Sheep Yarn Shop. Shut up! Look at that.
Yes.
That's the cutest logo I've ever seen. What the heck?
Yeah. So
Is this all wool?
yes, it's a beautiful wool.
It's gorgeous.
There was a sweater there that I could not resist the yarn for. So you're going to get to knit yourself a sweater.
Okay, but the sweater's gonna match my
I
pincushion.
know, because it's our colors. Here, I'm gonna pull up the sweater pattern to show you.
These are gorgeous.
I'm gonna
They
make
just keep coming.
I know. I'm gonna make her buy the pattern herself, because then it'll be in her Ravelry account and not mine. I started to buy it, and then I was like, no, she's gonna have to get it
that's
herself.
honestly the way to go, because then if I've got the pattern on my, as a PDF on my phone, I'm way more likely to access it.
So this is called the Sail Away Cardigan.
It's so pretty.
Isn't it beautiful? So we'll put a picture here so that you all can see what she's seeing for the first time. I thought it was beautiful. And then Dennis insisted that you also needed this sock yarn. So Dennis picked the sock kit for you, and I picked the sweater kit. So that's what you got for your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
I love it so much.
Yeah, and she offered to ball it for you, and I was like, no, she can ball it herself.
I do enjoy balling it myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like as part of the process, so when I was a crocheter, I never understood these hanks of yarns, right? Because a crocheter is like, that doesn't help me. Knitters, on the other hand, just handle their yarn differently. And I think that there's something really nice about getting them in the hanks and being able to go through the fibers and open them up and then ball them up yourself. Like, you're learning the texture of that material and how it handles, and it's sort of preparing you mentally for working with it. I love that.
Well, so this is Scout wool.
100% wool.
Yes, it's a beautiful wool. This is the color Coral Heather, and then this one was just natural. And what's the blue?
Teal heather.
Teal heather. So they had a sweater in these colors already made up in the shop, and I was like, yeah, no, we just want that exact thing.
Sweater,
That's
please.
what she wants right there.
Yes, some assembly required sweater, yes.
Yes, but I knew, so we bought this for her on May 1st, and I've had it hiding in my closet.
You're so sneaky.
And so I knew if I gave it to her on May 1st, she'd probably have it finished before her birthday.
No,
So
that's crazy.
So I thought maybe we'll just wait till her actual birthday. But I asked her father's permission for me to go ahead and give it to her on FlossTube, because I thought thought she would be so frustrated if she got this cool gift for her birthday and she couldn't touch it because we hadn't filmed a FlossTube
That's
yet.
fair.
Right?
Yeah, that would have made me crazy.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
So
Oh man, this is so beautiful.
I'm glad you like it.
you.
Yes.
I'm so excited. You guys remember I got all those beautiful purple green colorways that was a wool blend also from my mother-in-law to make a sweater for Christmas. Have I touched it, started it? No. But I will.
Yes, I know you will. Yeah, you kind of have to just be in a knitting mood. And,
Yeah,
you know,
and-
and you can cast this on and then work on it a little bit at a time.
Exactly. If I have a pattern, I feel like that at least gives me the structure to just go ahead and get started.
What was fascinating is this is the sail away cardigan that I've purchased this for, but there's a comparable pattern that uses the same amount of yarn that's called the halibut pattern that literally is like fish around the yoke of a color. Yeah, so
I might need to see that.
I'll show you, but more than anything, this is an hour from our house, this shop.
Really?
So that's right.
That's dangerous information.
So sometime your little family of 4 can go on an outing and run down and, you know, lure the children there with ice cream, but, you know, it is the beach after all.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So anyway. Thank you. You're welcome.
Happy birthday, me.
Yes. Happy birthday to Mallory. So if you've stuck with us this long, thanks a lot. We have had so much fun. It will be a few weeks before we film again. We'll be getting closer to my birthday then. So
That's right.
That's kind of fun. And we've had a good month. May has been beautiful. It's been fun, full of family time.
Lots of life.
Yeah, lots of life going on. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to use Mallory's name in your comments so that you can win a project bag. Don't use giveaway or...
That'll bring the bots. We don't want that.
That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Just real people. We love you, friends.
Happy stitching.
Happy stitching.
Bye.
Except for my new bag.
I'll start with Mary Finley. So Mary Finley is a
show your new
chart.
bag?
Well, I've got that toward the end, but I
Okay.
can pull it out if you want
No,
to.
that's okay.
No?
We'll do
All
that
right.
whenever.
All right. What should we do now?
Do you want to show haul?
We can certainly show a little haul. I showed you my bobbin boat. And
I'm saving you.
oh, thank you. Okay. You have more whips going, or should I show another whip?
Well, the only other whip that I can think of would be my 36 count linen one, and I don't have it down here.
Okay.
I like your taco.
Yes, I like it too.
Every now and then I fall apart. That's so good. Okay.
I mean, super appropriate, right, for
Yes.
a taco.
For a taco and for me.
And me.
We'll see how it does without the fan.
Sure. I mean, we can record for a while and then take a break and check it and see how hot it is and, you know, and then take a break if we need to let it cool down. I mean, it's usually under the, yeah, there you go.
Just putting up our sign.
I feel like I've got a vote of no confidence.
Is it going now?
Yes, I
Okay.
think so. Double checking because now I've gaslit myself. Yes, it is going.
Okay. And we're zoomed in the way you like it and all of that.
Hopefully.
Okay.
It's really hard to get the framing right when I can only see one of us. You know, like I put you in the frame and I hope that I'm going to be sitting next to you.
That seems right. Okay.
My water was in the frame though, so I'm going to move it.
All right. Do you want me to do the intro today?
Sure.
Okay. Surprise.
Thank you. I love it so much.
Good.
This is going to be so fun to work on.
Yes, I thought it was just I mean, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, well, she needs that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She needs, and so Dennis is like, and how much was I?
Don't worry about that.
That's right. We don't
Don't worry about that.
We don't price point these things. We just enjoy.
We just enjoy them.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
All right. Well,
I
check
know
your
that
phone
was
and see if it
overheated and
or
cut
anything.
off. Gosh, I hope not.
Yeah, that would be something.
That
Wouldn't
would
it?
suck. Our first time without a fan, that would really suck. An hour and a half.
Perfect.
That's just right.
Right, and it'll be less than that because we do have quite a few
And
things
we'll cut
for
it
you
down.
to cut down.
That's right.